Alright, Jesse. We'll wait for the plane to go away.
That's my plane. It's here to pick me up. I'm kind of a big deal. Hey guys, I'm JESS KORESH, the bearded beauty.
And it's Amanda, your cutie of Carnage, here on
ChannelSundown.
Alright guys, it's that time of year. By time of year I mean the end of the year. Sorry to mean at you. The end of the year. It is about to be 2020 and we are going to go say goodbye to 2019. And no better way of saying bye to 2019 than to talk about our favorite horror films of 2019. Yes, we are doing our countdown of favorite horror films of 2019. And stay tuned because there will be a part 2 of 2019 horror films, the worst. But we're going to start out positive. So we're going to go ahead and start with our top 10, Jesse's 5 and my 5, favorite horror films of 2019. Are you excited, Jesse?
I'm very excited. I can barely contain myself.
And of course, like Jesse always says, always makes fun of me, I might have some honorable mentions. We shall see. Speaking of exciting, I'm going to go ahead and have Jesse start with his number 5, I was like 5, his number 5 pick for favorite horror film of 2019. Are you ready to start it, Jesse?
I'm ready to get this party started. Okay, so my number 5 is a movie that just slid into my list because I just watched it recently.
Oh my gosh.
I know what you're thinking. You might have it on your list, but I don't think you will. My number 5 is In Fabric by Patrick Strickland. A lot of different things about it that I enjoyed. It's kind of a weird movie, which I like. It kind of reminds me of like a Dario Argento movie meets a David Lynch movie. It's got fashion in it, which I'm into. Used to work in the industry. And it's got like a lot of weird little things and like cut-ups and kind of, you know, I do collages on the side. Check out my collage page. And it kind of reminds me...
Link below.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a collage type movie is I think one of the reasons that I really enjoyed it. But, and again, you know, I always like it when I'm going into something expecting one thing and then I get something else. And this ended up being like a more varied story than I originally anticipated. So anyway, that's my number 5. It slid in. I almost didn't get to catch it this year, but I really wanted to see it. It was one of my most anticipated movies, and I got to see it, and so that it snuck into my number 5.
I just saw this movie yesterday, and I swear when I saw it, it's not a bad movie. It's just kind of it's a collage, like you said, it's a collage of films. It's really good. I just didn't expect. I thought what's her name was going to star in it, and there's multiple characters and multiple stories.
That's the part that surprised me because I really thought all the focus was going to be on the main character, and so then like you know halfway through the movie it kind of surprised me, and I think I enjoyed it actually better because of that, because it had the different characters. It gave it more of a depth to the story. It
was a strange movie. In Fabric. Indeed. See what I did there? My number 5 is going to be a film directed by Rob Grant, and that is Harpoon. Yes, I have Harpoon on my countdown. It stars Emily Tyra, Christopher Gray, and Monroe Chambers. And you guys might know Monroe Chambers because he's in another favorite film of mine, The Turbo Kid. Yes, it stars the Turbo Kid. He looks a lot different. He's a lot kind of older, mature in this one. And he is from my guilty pleasure forever, Degrassi. Yes, he's Eli from Degrassi. So yeah, he's older now. It's about these 3 friends who go on a boat trip to dump one of the friends, Jonah, Richard, and Sasha. Jonah recently lost his parents. They basically go on a boat trip to dump his parents' ashes, and things get kind of crazy. It's only a 3-person cast, and it takes place on a boat. So it sounds like it's not that entertaining or interesting, but it is so interesting. The story gets into it and has ups and downs, and somebody's telling the story, and they go into just what's unlucky about the sea. Like, they had this whole hoopla. They're talking like being redheaded is like a major no-no, bad luck for going sailing and stuff. You don't really, like, you're kind of up and down with characters, and the situation that happens, you would think it sounds really boring, but it's not. Three friends go out, they get stuck at sea after dumping his friend's parents' ashes, and drama goes from there. And it has a lot of dark humor. A lot of dark humor. It's hilarious. Like, throughout the film, I'm not going to spoil, like I said, guys, you know, I'm on repeat with that, but they keep saying Harpoon, and they're like, no, it's a spear gun, and she goes, whatever, like, they correct her, and it's such a dark humor. In the beginning, it starts like, boom, like, drama happens, and, you know, it's it's like it's an up and down roller coaster, and it's so entertaining, and it's realistic. I just don't like it when I see, like, a horror film and it's a bunch of friends going out and they're all like, oh, we're all best friends and I love you. No, these people don't get along all the time. And it's really funny and stuff. So if y'all get a chance, take out. I can't talk to you guys. Check out Harpoon. Okay, Jesse, it's your turn.
All right. My number 4 is a movie that came out pretty early in the year, I believe. And so I almost forgot about it, but I really enjoyed this movie, and I told you about it. I don't know if you ever watched it or not, but it is a movie directed by Isnt Lopez, and it's called I Trapped the Devil.
Oh, yes.
It's a very slow burn of a movie. It's a psychological thriller. You've got this man, and he believes that he has trapped the devil in his basement. And so you're kind of wondering, was this real or not? And he thinks he's containing this evil. And then he has, like, surprise visits from his family. And, of course, they come over and they think he's crazy. And he's trying to convince them. And they want to let this guy out. And it's just a really entertaining movie. And it's very original. That's you know me, I'm a sucker for, like, original stories. And it was one of the most original movies that I watched this year. So I really enjoyed it. And that's my number 4.
Yeah, because the ending is kind of like, when I saw it, I was like, wait, what? And then, like, you know, the reveal, I'm not going to, like I said, no spoilers, guys, but no spoilers on my countdown, because obviously these are our favorites, so we want you to watch them. But yeah, the ending, I'm just like, huh? And it's streaming on Shudder right now.
I know it was streaming on something.
Yeah,
sure.
Streaming on Shudder, and the ending, you're just like, what? Like, you're kind of like, what's going on? Okay, my number 4 is going to be a film that I actually had. It was a film that I actually was kind of debating on seeing, if I can get my voice back. I was debating on seeing it because I heard a lot of things about it. Tigers Are Not Afraid. This film is streaming on Shudder right now, and oh my goodness, oh my Jesus, this film is insane. It's so insane. It's basically about this little girl who lives in Mexico during the drug war. And basically it starts off, she's in school, and the gunfire is going off, and everybody in the school sits down to kind of shield themselves from the gunfire. And while she's down, her teachers, I'm not spoiling anything, guys, so don't worry, it's just the start of the film. While she's on the floor, her teacher crawls to her, and she's kind of panicking, and she hands her 3 pieces of chalk. And she said you get 3 wishes, because in their class they were talking about fairy tales and how every person has their fairy tale and stuff. And she gives her 3 chalk. So she thinks having these 3 pieces of chalk, her teacher said you get 3 wishes. So she holds the pieces of chalk, and she goes home, and her mother's missing, and she lives with her mother, and that's her one parent, her one support, and her mother goes missing. So she kind of runs away, and she joins a group of orphan kids who are also alone due to the violence and everything going down. And in the beginning of the film, she's walking through the town. It just shows the kids through the normalcy of the danger. Like, she's walking home from school, and there's a dead body in the road. You know, it just showed the normalcy of just, you know, the violence. And it really showed the characters how they deal. And what I liked about the film is the kids are believable within the situation, because they don't really play their innocence to the T, because it shows kids growing up in the violence and the hate and everything going on. It showed how normal it was to them, and how they weren't just a bunch of kids crying in the corner. They were like, oh, this person's dead, and they kind of are used to it. And it shows, like, the fear of us, you know, everyone's scared of, you know, being killed and violence, and it showed the normalcy of kids going through that. And it was so on point. And the film, I'm not getting into spoilers, guys. I'm going to repeat that over and over again. But the children are very talented in this film. They are very talented because you can either play a child either very pathetic and very sad or over the top and mean. And they are believable in this situation. And it is really, this film, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I was crying. I'm like, the film is so heartbreaking. The film is so heartbreaking. Like, extremely. Like, I was like watching the film and I was like, oh my gosh. And they do a lot of the girl is in her mind and she sees things and everything, and it kind of shows the innocence and the fantasy, because there's a fantasy aspect of it in her mind. It showed a kid how they kind of deal with it and they kind of go about it, and it's really a strong story within the kid's point of view. And the film has major foreshadowing. And it kind of shows, you know, a scene, and then a few minutes later that scene reflects that other scene. So it's a really deep movie. So I like it a lot. I was really nervous about seeing it because Jesse even told me, he was like, I don't know if you can handle that and not get teary-eyed. And I did get teary-eyed, so spoiler alert, you're going to get teary-eyed. But yeah, Tigers Are Not Afraid is streaming right now on Shudder if y'all get a chance to watch it, because it is really something else. It is fantastic.
I agree. I love that movie, and I think it's safe for me to say at this point that that was one of my honorable mentions. It almost made my list. I think if I made this list 2 weeks ago, it probably would have been in my top 5. But yeah, it's a really, really good movie.
And the fact of, like, it's a horror film, it's not a horror film and like a slash and dash, and like, it's a horror of the situation of the mind and dealing with, because the situation is horrific. And, you know, we're not going to get into the ending or anything, but the ending was just kind of something that just put the bow on it. And a lot of people can interpret the ending differently. I have a whole, like, I would like to make a video of it, because the film kind of, it's very open. It's like an ending that you can decipher yourself. You can come up with how you see the story ending, because it's a very fantastic fantasy thought, and it's just, it's really good, and the ending just wraps it up, and it's really heartbreaking, and it's the whole thing's horrifying, but there's not a guy with an axe, there's not, you know, there's gangsters with guns, but yeah, it's a horrific situation, so it's really scary in that aspect. And yeah, Tigers Are Not Afraid. I'll get off that subject now, but I love Tigers Are Not Afraid, but it's my number 4. So
My number 3 is another movie that I watched that ended up being right up my alley. It was by Joe Vegas, and it's called Bliss. It is a psychedelic, drug-filled vampire movie that'll blow your mind, man. Like, the main character in it, she takes this drug. She's an artist, and she's having trouble finishing her piece that she's supposed to be working on, and so her job's in jeopardy. And she ends up taking this drug called Bliss, which I believe is kind of like a mix between
like LSD
and ecstasy and cocaine or something. It's kind of an imaginary drug for the sake of the movie, and it inspires her to get creative again, and, you know, so she starts working on her art again and gets creative, but, you know, she has blackouts and she doesn't remember doing some of the art, and then there's these other crazy things going on, and there's dead people, and there's her friend, and you're not sure what she is, and it's just a really good psychedelic mystery horror film. I loved it. I was really entertained by it the entire time. Visually stunning.
Yes, and it's really kind of one of those things you don't know you're watching.
Yeah.
You don't until, like, really, like, even halfway through the film, I was like,
It's one of those movies that when it's like, it takes a while for you to understand what's going on. I mean, I guess you've never really completely understand what's going on, but it takes a while to get there. But then when it starts hitting, it just, like, hits hard for the whole, like, it's just like bam, 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 to the end of the movie, which was very entertaining.
Yeah, and it's really kind of like, you don't, like you said, you don't know what you're getting into, but at the same point, you kind of, like, at the ending, it's kind of like, it just, you don't know if it's, I'm not going to spoil it, but you don't know if it's one thing or another.
Yeah, I think that seems to be like a common thread on both of our kind of lists.
Yeah.
Like these kind of open-ended, open to interpretation kind of endings where you don't like, You know, did that really happen? What's going on? Is it? But we talk about this a lot. But like the best horror things are like psychological horror, where it's like, and that's what these movies do to you. They play with your mind, and so you're kind of like along for the ride in that aspect of it.
So Bliss, y'all check it out, and it's not streaming. I'm pretty sure that you can get it on Amazon or Vudu, what have you.
Yeah, you can rent it.
Well, here is my number 3, which I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be like, what? But my number 3 is, I loved this film, and we did a review on it, so y'all check out the link below. But mine is going to be, of course, Jordan Peele's Us. I loved Us. I loved it. And I'm going to tell you guys, if you guys watch my review, I said that I loved it. I'm going to tell you something. I loved it more the second time I saw it. The second time I saw it, as Lupita Nyong'o, Wynton Duke, Elizabeth Moss, and Tim Heidecker, which you guys might know Tim Heidecker from Tim and Eric. Yes, they all are in it, and they play each of these people. They're the moms and the dads and the family, and everybody plays two characters, because it's about the Wilson family, the mother and the father and the kids. They go out to the mother's childhood beach home where she grew up in and everything, and she kind of is going through like this traumatic thing as like when she was younger something happened, and so she's trying to like get over it, but she kind of has this like overwhelming overwhelming feeling of gloom surrounding her. She always thinks something's out for her, and it takes a lot in the beginning. You kind of notice like she's always turning, like, because I noticed in the second time I watched it, she's constantly turning around when she's in anywhere. You can see like on the beach, she's constantly like, and it's a little nod that I noticed when I was watching. I was like, she's constantly turning around. And so her and her family go to the townhouse on the beach that she grew up in and stuff like that, and she is there with her family, and then 4 masked people show up to their beach home, and they kind of like keep them hostage and everything. And you kind of find out when the masks come off, they are carbon copies of the family. The 2 kids have the 2 escapee kids are the same age as the 2 kids, 2 parents, doppelgangers. So they're 4 copycats of the family, 4 family members. They're each carbon copies of each other. The story is really kind of, it twists and turns. You have different things that happen, and a lot of people, I'm going to say, did not like this film. And a lot of people were like, oh, well, you know, I didn't like this part. This film is not handed to you at all. This film is not handed to you. Jordan Peele sits there and he tells the story, and he gives you what you need to, and he has you interpret what you can. And not what you can, that sounds stupid. I don't know, what you want, like what you put together. Everybody has different interpretations of the film, and it's not handed to you by any means. But that's the reason why I like the film so much, and I have so much respect for it, because a lot of people going into Us were going to look for a Get Out Part 2. If you guys remember, my year Get Out was like my number 1. So I love Get Out. I love Get Out. And I was really pleased with everybody. Everyone's like, well, I didn't like Us because it made no sense. Like, it made sense if you went and took notes in your mind and kind of, you know, translate it into what you needed to and take pinpoints of the story. Like I said, I'm saying I noticed when the film she kept turning around. Even when she was just sitting in the car, she noticed the kids were singing because she kept turning back. And so you notice that a lot in the film. And it doesn't like I said, it's all what you think of yourself. It's not handed to you. So by any means, if you guys have seen it once and didn't really care for it, watch it a second time knowing what you know. Because, of course, you know, every film has an interesting ending. And a lot of people expect the ending to be different. But the ending is good. And I really liked it. And I'm sorry if people weren't pleased. But the acting was terrific. The story was terrific. It's a film that really was unappreciated because it wasn't everything what people wanted. But my number 3 is definitely going to be Us. Jordan Peele is my number 3 favorite film of 2019 in general. Not just horror, but in general. I'm sorry, guys. I know I keep playing my hair, but the back of my hair keeps falling down. And I can't see a whole way from years. I keep playing my hair because I don't want I want to look my hair to look nice. I want to look nice for you guys.
You should do like me and just go for the mullet.
I kind of have a mullet, so.
We're the mullet twins. My number 2, and this is not gonna. The only thing that might surprise you about this being on my list is that it's not my number 1.
Oh no.
My number 2 is a movie by Mike Flanagan. It's a little movie, a little sleeper movie. I don't know if most of you probably haven't heard of it, but it's called Dr. Sleep. It's this cute little indie film that is a sequel to another movie that most of you probably haven't heard of called The Shining.
Yeah.
That came out in 1980, and they finally decided to make a sequel. It's actually a sequel to the book. There was a book that was a sequel by the famous Stephen King. Of course, I'm being very sarcastic. Everybody knows what Dr. Sleep is. But yeah, I was really looking forward to this movie, and I really enjoyed it. It gave me, I even told you when we discussed it before, I think when we did the trailer reaction, that I had a feeling it was going to be more of a sequel to the movie than it was the book, and that's exactly what it was, which, I love both. So I really, even though I read the book and I kind of knew what to expect, I still didn't know what to expect because they're very different. The Shining book and the Shining movie are very different. Dr. Sleep book and Dr. Sleep movie are also very different, but very enjoyable. If you are a fan of The Shining, the original movie, even though Stephen King doesn't like the movie, a lot of people do love the movie, and you haven't seen Dr. Sleep yet, you should definitely check it out. And I understand that there's like when they put it out, there's going to be like an extended version.
Yes.
There's going to be like 32 extra minutes of footage, which is pretty crazy because the movie.
So in 3 hours.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the movie was pretty long in itself, but you know what they did? This is off subject, but you know what they kind of did with, and I enjoy this with longer movies, is they did the Hateful Eight on Netflix, and they released like a bunch of, it's like the director's cut version, but they broke it into 4 parts and put it on Netflix, so it's kind of like a mini series.
Oh wow!
So now you can watch Hateful Eight in 4 parts. So I kind of hope that's what they do with this, so I can like break it up and watch it at least in like part 1 and part 2 or something like that. But yeah, definitely enjoyed this movie, Dr. Sleep.
That is so funny because guys, we're gonna have the link for the trailer reaction and our Dr. Sleep review below, but I thought you didn't like Dr. Sleep.
No, well, you know what? I did.
You had to do a second viewing, didn't you?
No, I didn't do a second viewing. I just thought about it. The more I thought about it, the more I enjoy. I'm like that sometimes with movies. Like sometimes initially I'll enjoy it, but then like my brain starts thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, I didn't really like that movie as much as I thought I did. Or sometimes it's the opposite, and I'm like, hey, I like that movie more than I thought I did. And that just happens to be the case with Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, I am gonna go ahead and say I love Dr. Sleep. If you guys check out the review, it is. But the thing about that is, like, you just finished Dr. Sleep before we went to go see it. So I'm thinking that has something to do with it, too.
I kind of wish I'd given myself some more time in between finishing the book, because like you said, I had just finished the book when we went to watch the movie, and so the book was still very fresh on my mind. So I probably wasn't as open-minded about the movie as I normally would have been, because I was still thinking about the book. And like, I remember telling you, like, in the movie, not that I talk a lot in the movies, but I'm like,
that's not in
the book. That's like, what? This isn't in the book.
Well, in the review, like I said, because I stopped and I went, what? And he was like, not in the book. He just went, I went.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of confused on a certain point, but it is what it is. But yeah, Dr. Sleep, good job.
Well, I didn't direct it, but thank you.
Good job for saying that. That really is a film that I did not expect to be on your list, especially your number 2.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed. My number 2 is going to be Freaks. My number 2 is Freaks. This film stars Emile Hirsch, Bruce Dern, and Amanda Crew. Emile Hirsch plays the dad, Amanda Crew plays the mother, and Bruce Dern plays the snow cone man. The snow cone man, we'll just call him that. The snow cone man. And basically, this girl is taken in a girl's point of view. And this girl is living in a house, and she lives with her father, and her father keeps her isolated from people. He keeps her in the house, and he doesn't let her go out and see people, and she doesn't let people see her. And you wonder, like, what's going on and stuff. Well, through her room, she is looking out and observing people, and there's kids that she watches, and there's this ice cream man who comes, and he plays the music, and she kind of wants to interact with him. Well, the ice cream man tries to interact with her, and he kind of is like, hey, come get some ice cream and stuff. and her dad is like, oh, don't go to ice cream because it's made of children bodies and stuff like that. He says a bunch of stuff. Well, she finally escapes her house, and she leaves, and she meets up with Mr. Snowcone Man, and things go from there. It gets really up and down and chaotic, and you really don't know what you're watching most of the film and halfway through, and they actually go and you really, like I said, you have no idea what you're getting into, but other than getting annoyed and being like, what, you're actually really interested. Because even the trailer, guys, we have a trailer reaction for Freaks below. I'll have the link below. But the trailer doesn't give much away either. So you don't know, and the title Freaks, you're kind of like, what's going on? Well, like I said, I'll repeat myself, we're not going to get into spoilers, because this film is good when you go into it not knowing anything. But this film is, you don't know what you're watching, and it's good because when it happens, you're just like, wait, the story does like multiple turns. The story changes often. Mm-hmm. What exactly, you don't know who you're supposed to go for or against. I love Freaks. I love Freaks. It's my number 2, but I still love Freaks. So if y'all get a chance, check it out. It's worth renting on Vudu.
The only reason I didn't include this movie as my number 1 movie is because it wasn't really a horror movie per se, but it was definitely the best movie of the year, and that's The Joker.
I knew it.
Todd Phillips.
I knew it, guys. I don't mean to interrupt, but I knew it because that was gonna be my number 1.
Yeah.
That was gonna be my number 1, seriously, because it is so good.
It really is good.
It's nominated. Joaquin Phoenix is nominated.
Yeah, good job. It's definitely the best movie of the year. Most people wouldn't really consider it a horror movie, or really fit in onto this countdown, but it was. I want to give it an honorable mention because it was just such a great movie, and it was definitely my favorite movie of the year, and I thought the best movie of the year.
Exactly, and a lot of people don't consider it horror because I'm sorry, guys, I can't speak, guys. You know, anyways, I can't speak today. But a lot of people don't consider it horror because it's not like slice it, dice them kind of deal. But it's human. The mind is terrifying. And they play it so like, because you're in it and it's like this, you don't know what he's going to do. And there's nothing more scary than the unknown. And people are scary. People are, that have intentions are scary. And this film was frightening. But like I said, I didn't put it on my countdown because I didn't know it counted as horror. So good job, Jesse. I don't feel as bad now. But I really wanted to put Joker on there.
Yeah, me too.
Here it goes, guys. Number 1, Jesse, you're number 1, friend.
My number 1, and I'm not sure if you're going to be surprised by this or not, because they're probably thinking like, oh my God, what's this number 1? But you watched this movie with me, and you could tell that I was really excited about it, and you knew that I was really excited about wanting to see it. And so mine is it's directed by Adam Egypt Mortimer, and it's Daniel Isn't Real. I was really excited about seeing this movie. It did not disappoint me. Spectre Vision, brought you Mandy. They knocked it out of the park again. A psychological thriller about a guy who's got an imaginary friend, and his imaginary friend's evil, and it's one of those things where you don't know, like, oh my God, what's happening? You know, what's real and what's not real, and you know how they hold. There's a lot of movies that use the kind of imaginary friend thing, or Fight Club, or spoiler alert if you haven't seen Fight Club. The movie was visually stunning, which also I've come to expect from Spectre Vision, and it just had a real good vibe, real cool vibe, real good looking movie. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
My number 6 was actually Daniel Isn't Real, so I missed it by that much. And Daniel Isn't Real is Adam Egypt Mortimer, yeah, like you said, and the film is so good, and the cast is really small. Cast is really small because it stars Patrick Schwarzenegger, who is the son of Maria Shriver and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Spoiler, you can tell his name. And it has Miles Robbins, who's the son of Tim Robbins, and Susan Sarandon. They are so good in this film.
Yeah, they are good.
They're really good in the film because it's about this kid who, he has an imaginary friend because he goes through a bunch of traumatic stuff and his mother is not well. His mother is mentally ill. And he goes through a lot of stuff with his mom. And so he develops this imaginary friend as a child. Well, he ends up locking this friend, Daniel, away. And when he locks him away, he goes through a lot of stuff as an adult And so he's talking to the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist like, will let Daniel out, and he does, and Daniel is happy to be out. Okay, guys, my number one is actually a film that I just saw. It's been on my wanting to watch list, my most wanted to watch list, and that is available on Netflix right now, and that is Sweetheart. My number one is Sweetheart. It has 3 people in the film because they do backstories and stuff. Anyways, basically the film is about this girl, Jennifer, who is shipwrecked, and she gets up on an island. She makes it on an island, and she gets there, and she's like, how the hell am I going to get out of here? I'm going to make it. Well, she starts trying to survive, getting water and trying to make it, and she finds one of her friends have passed. So she buries her friend, and she wakes up to a sound, and she's like, okay. Well, the next morning she wakes up, the body was dug up. She realizes, she comes to find out that she's not alone on the island by any means. And you hear that there's three actors in the film all around. There's 3 actors in the film when they tell the story, literally 3 actors, and it takes place on an island. And you would think, oh, that's not so interesting. It is so freaking interesting. It grabs you. And the character of Jennifer, you know, she goes crazy. You think she's going crazy. And there's a lot of ups and downs, and there's a lot of symbolism in the film. There's a lot of symbolism. And the ending, like you guys know, I'm not going to tell you what the ending, but the ending is foreshadowing from the earlier experience of what they were talking about, and her talking about being free and being herself and knowing what she can take and not take. And it's really focused on the characters, and it's a really good film on characters and survival, because it shows you that people that have hope and people that don't have hope, and it shows that people don't just need hope to survive. You know, they kind of have to come to different levels and stuff, and I can get more into that, but I don't want to get into it and explain her character per se, because I don't want to spoil anything. But it's a very well I guess organization of characters and feelings and what have you, and I loved Sweetheart. I thought it was great. Freaks and Sweetheart were in a tie, and I was going back and forth, and I was this close to putting Freaks as my number one, but Sweetheart kind of dug its way in. So yeah, my number one is Sweetheart, indeed.
I think Sweetheart will be a lot of fun if you think of it as being in the same universe as The Shape of Water.
Wow, okay.
That's what I was thinking when I was watching it. I was like, it's a prequel to The Shape of Water.
Wow, okay. Alright guys, well that concludes our countdown of 2019's best horror films of 2019. Ah, there you go. So, what do you guys think? Do we leave anything out? Yes, you know, this is a very debatable topic, of course, but did we leave anything out? Do you guys disagree with us? Let us know. I'm repeating words a lot. Let us know. Comment below. Comment below. And y'all stay tuned, because we're going to actually have another part 2. We're going to have worst horror films of 2019. Yes, the worst. We decided to do the best first because we want to start on a positive note, and we'll end 2019 with the bad. There.
On a negative note.
Yeah. There you go. Well, it's funny too. But you guys stay tuned, because in 2020 we're going to have a countdown, a video on most anticipated horror films of 2020 when 2020 comes around very soon. So you guys, thank you again. There we go. While you do that, I'm going to drink a Monster. And
This episode is brought to you by Monster Energy Drinks.
and water.
Plain filtered water.
Yep, in a nice bottle though.
Yeah. Water. Water. Your body needs it.